Well, good afternoon. This is Rich, and the market's finished up trade today, just ahead of tomorrow morning's USDA supply-demand report. The corn market had a good finish this afternoon. Finished up near the highs of the day, with D's corn up 7 3/4 cents at $5.90. March corn climbing over the $6 mark, $6.25. That was up 7.5 cents. And the D's 12 corn up a dime at $5.61. Probably one of the drivers here was the export sales report that came out this morning. Showed sales at near 700,000 tons. That's almost 3 times what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. We've seen some very dismal reports the last couple of weeks. So it was nice to see a bump, and then part of the reason for that bump was that 4 vessels of corn were sold last week to China, and so that kind of getting the market used to the idea that when we take prices down to new lows or at lows, that we bring some demand back into these markets. So I think that was part of the driver there. Otherwise, we're getting ready for the report tomorrow morning. One other thing in the corn market, JP Morgan apparently was a buyer of some $7 calls today. Bought about 8,000 of those here this afternoon, and not sure what the reason was, whether they were trying to cover a short position or whether they were putting on a new long position, but nonetheless, that was a bullish signal here for the market. So a couple of things here under the corn market. Soybeans finished just on the higher side. January beans up 1.5, 11.32.5. March beans up 1 1/4 at 11.42 1/4. D's cotton closed at 91.60. I don't have the change on that for some reason. D's 12 cotton down 0.35 at 89.26. January rice down 16.5 points at 14.22. The wheat market still the weak link. December Chicago wheat down 6 1/4, 5.76 3/4. December Kansas City down 1 3/4 at 6.50.5, and Minneapolis D's wheat down 2 cents at 8.44 3/4. The dollar was firmer today, up 3.5 of a point. Crude oil down 2.47 a barrel at 98.02. Gold down $33 an ounce at 17.08, and the Dow closed down 202 points lower at 12,012 points. So all things considered, mostly a negative day, with the exception being corn and soybeans. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, we'll get USDA's December supply-demand report, and we'll have an update on our market call shortly thereafter, and we'll try to be back here on YouTube with an update after the report as well. No big surprises expected in tomorrow's report. We may see some slight demand adjustments here in the U.S. numbers, and then ultimately could see some changes in some of the production estimates overseas as well. So we'll get a final USDA U.S. production estimate on spring crops in the January 12th report. Have a good evening. We'll be back tomorrow with an update.